Hey, guys, you are in for a treat today. We are in the midst of our 9-day lead gen masterclass that we do just a handful of times a year where we deep dive around strategies to really 10x your lead generation on LinkedIn. And in the midst of it and in the throes of it, we decided to do this, what I'll call Cliff Notes version of the 9 days. So basically taking everything that we cover in 9 days and giving you the Cliff Notes version in less than 90 minutes. So this is an extended episode, but I hope you find it of tremendous value as we are in the midst of this masterclass going on right now. If you're listening to this as we drop on Friday, we're running this masterclass through the following Tuesday next week. So hope you enjoy, and I hope you find value in it. Need some effective tactical advice that actually helps you get results and makes a real difference in your life and business? You've come to the right place. If you're finding yourself here today, it means you're getting ready to gain serious traction in your business, rapidly multiply your income and impact, and you're ready to make it happen while living all out. Guys, I'm Melissa Hinault, your trustworthy corporate dropout turned six-figure business burnout turned happy and healthy CEO of a multi-million-dollar online business. And you're listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. On this show, we're serving up innovative growth strategies, simple implementation methods to put them into practice, and action-stimulating inspiration tailored specifically for the modern entrepreneur. Let's dive in. Hey, gang. Melissa Hinault here. So excited. Welcome to the 3 simple secrets to 10x your lead generation on LinkedIn. Guys, over the next 90 minutes, I am so excited to really reveal to you and dive into the secrets that everyone looking to up their leads games should know, but few actually do, which is an awesome opportunity and news for you today, right? Now, again, this presentation is going to go for about 90 minutes and it's going to be well worth your time. So hang tight and set aside the time to do this. Okay. Now, let's just go ahead and jump in for a litmus test so we make sure we're not wasting your time, right? Are you in the right place for this workshop, right? So question, either you already have a business and you're struggling to generate leads, or perhaps you're ready to get off the hamster wheel of Facebook ads and Instagram and TikTok trends. I know for me, I was like, I have a legitimate business and I don't have the time nor the interest in chasing trends when I am a thought leader in my space and a serious business to run with, right? Or maybe you want to start a business, but don't know how to generate leads, right? Like you're trying to figure out how to generate leads, or you have an established business, but you're looking for a more optimal way to generate leads, leveraging the power of the internet. Right? Or this is a big one. You want to generate hundreds of leads who are actually qualified to work with you, right? Some of us have plenty of leads, but they're the wrong leads, right? I hope that I can showcase to you why LinkedIn is such a powerful tool to identify highly qualified leads, right? Lastly, you're ready to put in the work and show up for yourself and your business today. Okay. So that's just a little bit of a litmus test to like, who is the right person? Let's see. Here we go. Now, next, you're actually not in the right place. So let's litmus test on this as well, right? You're not in the right place if you don't have a business and have no intention of starting one, okay? You can go ahead and hit stop, right? Or you're looking to go viral on Instagram or TikTok with the latest trends. You're in the wrong workshop. Lots of data has proven that just because you go viral and have millions and hundreds of followers on those platforms, doesn't mean it turns into an ROI in your business, right? Or if you already have hundreds of qualified leads and you don't have capacity for new clients. Also, you're looking for a get rich quick strategy to solve all your business problems. We're not the answer for you. or you aren't willing to put in the work and show up for yourself and your business today, we're probably not the right fit for you, right? Now, like T, if you are looking for a proven system that generates leads, you are in the right place. T, for instance, is a brand photographer. She's got a service-based business, but also she's a brand coach, works with entrepreneurs in their personal branding. You can see here for her, she's been using the system for 3 months solid now and has gotten messages straight from people asking what she is doing and curious about her opportunity. This is what we call attraction marketing that you're going to learn about today, where people are jumping into your DMs because of how you're showing up on LinkedIn, and people are coming to you instead of you chasing them. Can I get an amen? Right? Like, we want people, the ideal clients, coming to us, right? That's the holy grail. Okay. So during this training, what you are going to learn, okay, you're going to learn the 3 key secrets. Number 1, why LinkedIn is the best social media platform for you to be on if you want to grow your business. Secret number 2, how to generate hundreds of qualified leads without spending a penny on Facebook ads. I hope I can get your attention. With less than 3,000 connections on LinkedIn and not spending a dime on Facebook ads, we did over $1 million in revenue. Okay. I hope this is catching your attention, and we're going to teach you how. Okay. Secret number 3, the number 1 piece of advice I'd give any new business owner if you want to 10x your chances of success on LinkedIn. Okay. So these are the 3 secrets we are going to jump into today. Now, make sure you stay until the end. I'm going to give you a workbook with all the notes from today so that you don't have to break your hand feverishly writing everything down. Plus, access to 2 incredible resources. My LinkedIn checklist with just 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn. You're going to be able to run on the platform, and a LinkedIn profile audit workbook, right? So you can keep the momentum going. Now, who the heck am I, right? I'm Melissa Hinault, right? About 5 years ago, I exited corporate America. I was a corporate burnout. I don't know if anybody can relate. I had climbed Mount Everest by the age of 35 and realized standing at the top of the mountain, I'd climbed the wrong mountain. And at that moment, I took radical control of my life, and while working full time, scaled a business around my 9 to 5 in the e-commerce space. And it plateaued. I started with Instagram and Facebook. It plateaued at about $100,000 a year. Well, the problem was I wanted to match my corporate income and get out. Well, I was making a multiple 6-figure income in corporate America. So I had twice the revenue to go, and I'd flatlined. Light bulb moment went off for me. I'm a professional on LinkedIn. A lot of my network is on LinkedIn. Why am I spending all of my time over on Instagram and Facebook when there's just as many users and the same users over on LinkedIn, and quite potentially much easier to get visibility in front of them because it's not as saturated of a platform? That is part of what we're going to talk about today, right? So that was the light bulb moment for me. Now, what happened from there? What did I do? I leaned in and doubled down on LinkedIn. I committed to exclusively leveraging LinkedIn for 365 days, learning everything I possibly could. And in this photo, you will see that that was the very first day I revealed myself on LinkedIn as a non-corporate professional. I actually fired my boss publicly and quit my job on LinkedIn. I was able to throw away all the uncomfortable suits, put on my slouchy sweater, and fly coast to coast and make a post about it, and how, I'm kissing corporate goodbye and saying hello to entrepreneurship, right? Because I matched my corporate income by leveraging this engine and getting mass visibility and scaling my first business. Now, what happened from there? Well, quick journey from there to where we are today. In the past 5 years, post leaving corporate, I've leveraged LinkedIn to not only match my corporate income in my e-commerce business. In late 2019 to 2021, I scaled my first coaching business to over $1 million in revenue in 19 months without a dollar spent on ads. with the power of LinkedIn. Since then, we had our first million in revenue year in 2022, which I think less than 5% of business owners ever obtain, right? And we grew 380% last year with 3.8 million in revenue and on track to do over 4 million this year. Why am I sharing all of this with you? Well, it's important that you know who's mentoring you, right? Know that I was successful on LinkedIn as a one-man show. And if that's where you are, know that I've been there, right? And leveraging LinkedIn as a one-man show can be wildly powerful. Know that I've also scaled now a team and we have a larger company where we have multiple offers and we're still leveraging the power of LinkedIn. So no matter where you are, we've been there and the system and the process works, right? Also, I teach you what I actually do and it works. I likely relate to you. I built a business around my 9 to 5 and started from ground zero on LinkedIn. How many of you guys can relate to that, right? And since then, again, I've grown a business in a product in e-commerce using LinkedIn. I've grown a high ticket agency using the power of LinkedIn. I've grown group coaching programs, a high ticket mastermind, and high ticket one-on-one coaching. So the reason I share all of that background with you is to really validate the power of LinkedIn, no matter what your offer or business structure is. LinkedIn is wildly powerful, wildly powerful. Now, some of you guys are listening and you're like, well, I don't see a bricks and mortar in here, right? Know that. And I think we've got some examples here in the deck we've got plenty of folks who are in the bricks and mortar space, whether they're in manufacturing or if they're a chiropractor, teaching them how to build their brand and create attraction marketing for people to come through their front doors in their bricks and mortar, right? So definitely lean in. Okay. So now that I have your attention, you've done the quality check. You're in the right place. You've gotten someone who's been in your shoes and succeeded, who's going to move forward. Let's get down into business around secret one. Okay. Let's just dive into secret one. So secret number one, why LinkedIn is the best social media platform for you to be on if you want to grow your business. Okay. Let's start with this. Some hard facts. 3/4 of Americans are more likely to trust, buy, and recommend a company whose founders have an established brand, right? They have an established brand. And I am going to check something really quick. Okay. All right. Yes, have an established brand. Okay. Now, the question is, are you on the number one social media platform known as the go-to hub for authorities and experts, established businesses, trustworthy information, and business expertise? Now, of course, I'm speaking of LinkedIn. Are you, right? I quote Gary Vee, king of business and marketing, who says, you cannot be in business looking to generate leads on the internet and not be present with a personal brand on LinkedIn as the owner and CEO, right? You would be missing out on so much visibility. Okay. So we're going to do an exercise right here, right now. I want you to open up another tab on your computer as you're listening. This is really important. Okay. 81% of consumers use the internet to research before purchasing. This is really important. This is going to blow so many of your minds. I want you to go Google your name on Google right now. So I'm going to give you a minute. Okay. Go Google your name. We've Googled mine. You will see that even though I have a pretty prominent web page, I've been largely active on lots of platforms for quite some time, my LinkedIn profile is still the third thing that shows up in the Google search. I would love to know where your LinkedIn profile shows up when you search for yourself on Google, right? Many of you, it's going to be number one. It's going to be number one, right? So LinkedIn profiles will be the top 3 for many of you. And again, some of you, it's going to show up before your website. it could actually be a stand-in as your website, as a new business owner, if you don't have one, right? Because this is how people are going to find you. Now, my rhetorical question is, do you like what you see when you click on your profile page from Google? Do you like what you see? Are you speaking to how and who you serve and how they can contact you? Within a couple of seconds, when people click on that profile, are you happy with what is there to represent who you are and how you serve, right? Okay. I hope I've got your attention, right? Mass visibility. LinkedIn is one of those platforms that is the long game. It's not just on the platform. I hope you're seeing that it has huge visibility on Google. And we're not going to have time to get into it in this 90-minute webinar, but the SEO strategies on LinkedIn are wildly powerful to be seen and found on Google. So I want you thinking about LinkedIn more almost like YouTube than the other social media platforms, because they're so highly visible and searchable on Google, giving you more opportunity to be seen than just the individual platform. Okay. Now, some more LinkedIn facts. In 2023, because we're not done with this year yet, in 2023 was the biggest revenue year yet on LinkedIn. And it had its highest number of users and engagers ever on the platform. Also, it's the number 23 most visited website in the world. Number 23 in the world website, right? Voted by social media users as the number one most trusted social platform 5 years in a row. Go fact check me. Guys, if you take your business seriously and you're looking for clients who really are looking for really like trustworthy, valid thought leaders in their space, LinkedIn is going to be your jam and you're going to have so much fun with it, right? Okay. So next thing, how is LinkedIn different from other platforms? Like, this is another temperature check as to whether you should continue listening in for the rest of this webinar or not. So let's go through it. We're going to go through this and you can identify, yes, those are my people, or no, they're not. I need to go back to Instagram and Facebook, right? So let's do a reality check. Are your people on LinkedIn? That's the question of the day. Are your people on LinkedIn? Okay. So listen closely and take notes. Number one, let's talk about why people are on the different platforms. Okay. So like, why are people on Instagram and Facebook? Take off your business hats and think about why, as a typical consumer, why do people go to Facebook and Instagram? Okay. They go there to zone out. They go there for a dopamine hit. They go there to actually be inactive, not to take action. It's a mindless scroll between breaks. Am I right? Am I right? Okay. With LinkedIn, why do people go to LinkedIn? They go there for trustworthy news. They go there to network. They go there for opportunity. They go there for thought leadership, personal and professional growth. And most importantly, they go there to take action. So that is litmus test number one. Are you looking for an ideal client who's looking to take action? Or are you looking for someone who's mindlessly scrolling? And let me be clear, the same person can be using both platforms, but their mindset is in completely different places depending on the platform, right? So they intentionally go to Instagram and Facebook to zone out. That same person can be actively seeking, searching, and sorting on LinkedIn and looking to take action. So keep this in mind. Do you want to catch your potential client when they're in a kicking ass and taking names state to like get things done? Or do you want to grab their attention when they're totally zoned out between conference calls or wiping sleep out of their eye because they just woke up in the morning and they're waiting for the coffee to brew, right? That brings me to, I want to talk about time frame and then I'll get back to devices, right? The time frame when people are using the platforms, right? Again, people typically are more active on LinkedIn mid-morning. Why? Because it's a professional platform. So again, that same person, I know I'm guilty. When I'm waiting for my coffee to brew in the mornings, I'm like scrolling on stories and reels, like waking up, right? That's your average consumer. That same person, by the time they've exercised, had breakfast, seen their kids out the door, taken a shower, and had a full cup of coffee, now they're intentionally sitting down and strategically getting onto another platform, LinkedIn, and much more alert and intentional about what they're doing, right? Which brings me to device, right? What is the number one device that people are using on Instagram and Facebook? It's the phone, friends. So what do we know about that? We know that if it's the phone, they're multitasking and they're distracted. The number one device they're using when it comes to LinkedIn is the computer. They are attentive. They are at their desk. You are going to get their attention more easily and readily when your content comes to the feed than the others, right? Okay. What else? Age and gender. Average age on Instagram and Facebook is closer to 21 to 23 years old. Is that your ideal client? It may be. The average age on LinkedIn is 35. The average age is significantly higher, right? Who is your ideal client that's investing in your products and services? Okay. Then we have income level and money mindset and investing power. Are you looking for people who are more affluent and have the ability to invest? Are you dealing with a lot of cost objections? I can tell you probably why, because you're hanging out on Instagram and Facebook, right? And over there, the average income is about $21,000 a year, right? Where the average household income on LinkedIn is over $100,000 a year, right? So you have a more affluent audience on LinkedIn who has more income, investing power, and they have the money mindset and professional mindset to invest, right? So that's a little bit of a litmus test. We've got more we're going to dig into on how LinkedIn is different from the other platforms. So let's talk about algorithm and visibility, right? The reality is, on LinkedIn, only 4% of users are posting content. I hope this blows your mind, okay? Because LinkedIn just had its highest number of users ever, yet no one knows how to engage on the platform. So they're just scrolling and trolling, right? They don't know how to post, which means we have a lot of lurkers and massive visibility with very little competition. 4% of us are posting content. How do you think I was able to make $1 million in 19 months with 600 followers on Instagram and under 3,000 on LinkedIn? Through the power of visibility, less competition, right? So I'm not going to get into it today, but when we talk about the economy and where we are as a state of an economy, there is hyperactivity on the LinkedIn platform for a number of different reasons, right? And so you're getting mass visibility of lurkers over there. Are you a lurker? Are you over there perplexed as to how to post, but you're scrolling and patrolling, but you kind of like don't know how to post? We're going to talk more about that today, right? Because a lot of people are lost on how to post, and they're also wearing a mask as an employee, and they don't want to necessarily reveal too much of themselves, right? They're just not sure how to show up, which means you get the lion's share of the real estate in the feed because they're not posting, but they're there and you are, right? And that brings me to I want you to think back to the old Facebook days of over a decade ago. Some of you remember when your mom or your grandma liked something. Do you remember in your feed when it would say, hey, your grandmother liked this, maybe you would like it too? Do you guys remember that? Facebook has so many users now, and it's so saturated, and there's so much noise that you're not seeing those suggestions. They don't exist anymore because it's such a saturated platform. Over on LinkedIn, there's such a targeted audience, right? And that's what I want to underscore. We talked about the different types of audiences on this slide. Yes, there are less users on LinkedIn. That is not a bad thing. I want you to think about, are they the right users? Because just because there's more users on the other platform doesn't necessarily mean more opportunity for you if the average age is a decade to 2 decades younger than your target audience and their average income is not able to invest in what you have to offer. It doesn't matter that it's a larger audience. I would rather be a big fish in a small pond with massive visibility with high quality leads on the right platform. So I hope I'm like singing to some of you guys, right? Anyway, so with the less complexity of algorithms, you get much more mass visibility on the platform, right? Number 2 is the search engine function. There's 2 unique things I want to talk about here as far as the search engine function on the platform. Okay. You can target network growth with massive efficiency. You don't have to have tens of thousands of followers. Remember, I had less than 3,000 when I made $1 million, right? The beauty of LinkedIn is you don't need a mass network to be seen. You actually just need a targeted network. And because of the SEO function, because of the search engine function, you can literally seek, search, and sort and invite and connect with people based off of their demographics that meet your quality lead, right? So think about what Facebook ads that you have to pay money for to do to get to be seen. With LinkedIn, you can go in yourself and not pay anyone a dime and learn this is intellectual capital. It's a lifelong asset. And then you grow that network and you own that network, right? Okay. So I could talk about that forever. But the second thing is the SEO that make you discoverable. SEO in the profiles and SEO in the article writing and content you write that actually makes you discoverable on Google. Again, it's the long game. It's not, imagine you write something and instead of it being visible for 12 seconds on Instagram or Facebook before it's pushed down and lost in the algorithms, imagine creating the same amount of time creating content that then is rediscoverable over and over and over again, and not only on LinkedIn, but over on Google. This is ROI on your time, friends. This is ROI on your time, right? And the other example I'll give you here is like knowing that a lot of people go to LinkedIn because of the SEO function. And depending on your targeted audience, this may be the only way you'll ever get in front of them. I love to use my husband as an example. He does not do Instagram. He does not do Facebook, but he is a senior vice president at a medium-sized company that has over 300 employees, right? He does not post on LinkedIn. He doesn't engage on LinkedIn, but he's on there weekly as a senior vice president, networking and reviewing people's profiles for hire. Now, his company just recently hired an executive coach for leadership with a $100,000 contract. How did he connect with her? How did he land it? Through LinkedIn. She never would have found him on the other platforms because he's not active over there. He doesn't have accounts over there. And as a matter of fact, one would assume he's not even active on LinkedIn because he's like the other 96% of users who never post, but are actually highly active on the platform. So this leadership consultant has won the game of visibility on the platform, knowing that he's active over there. You're never going to find him on the other platforms. And it's knowing that a lot of the end customers that you're trying to target are potentially over there leveraging SEO to search and seek and sort for potentially something that you don't sell or monetize, but it doesn't mean that you can't get visible in front of them while they're there. So think about the interstate and you're driving down the interstate headed to the beach. You're driving down the interstate headed to the beach. You're not driving down the interstate headed to the beach to buy furniture, right? But it's traffic. And you're headed down that lane. And then there's this big advertisement on the side of the road that speaks to some high-end furniture. And maybe you happen to be building a new home, right? I want you to think about this. This is just like LinkedIn, right? They're on the platform to search, to seek, to network, and boom, your content shows up because you have such little competition. Okay. I could beat a dead horse on that. That kind of brings me to, it's not just a B2B, where people think business to business negotiations. I think I just gave you the perfect example of where the business to customer, business to consumer can be seen, right? The average employee may not be there networking for something altogether, maybe networking for something altogether different, right? But that doesn't mean that the end customer is not there to be seen. And also, I just want to underscore the mass exit of the Great Resignation in the past couple of years into entrepreneurship that's created a massive pool of entrepreneurs and small business owners where guess where their home base is? Their home base has always been LinkedIn for social networking. Maybe that's you and you're watching this because you're one of those people and you're like, gosh, I just feel more comfortable on LinkedIn. That's been my go-to in corporate. I just need to figure out how to tap into it. I'm so glad you're here because we're going to show you how. Okay. Secret number 2, how to generate hundreds of high quality leads without spending a penny on Facebook ads. Who is excited to hear about this? All right, let's move on. So, how are you? This is a question leaning into that secret number 2. How are you showing up on LinkedIn? Some of you are thinking, I've got this nailed. I'm showing up as an entrepreneur. I'm showing up as a small business owner. But as I walk you through some content about your LinkedIn profile, you could potentially wildly, by making a couple of minor changes, wildly change your results on LinkedIn. So lean in and let's talk about it. Okay. I want you to write this down. Okay. People don't care about what you know or what you have accomplished until they know you understand their challenge better than anyone else. Guys, this is so important in the shift of employee to service-based entrepreneur mindset on LinkedIn. Because when you were an employee, the most important thing to do was showboat. What do I mean by showboat? I mean, look at me. I'm so fabulous. Look at all of my accomplishments. Let me read to you in chronological order, like a resume, how amazing I am, right? That's what employees do on LinkedIn. Am I right? The best way to get started on this is to show to show you how this is done wrong and how so many entrepreneurs are still showing up and showboating, right? So we're gonna talk about this. Okay. So how do you position yourself with value? We call this the value proposition. And I want you to write these questions down. Okay. The value proposition. How do you create change or a solution for your prospective client? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is how do you teleport them from their problem to seeing you as the solution? How do you teleport them from their problem to seeing you as the solution? And how can you position yourself in a way that attracts your ideal client? Right? We call this the WIFM. What's in it for me? This is very different than the employee approach. And I'm going to give you a really bad example of what you shouldn't do in just a second. Would you guys like that? And then I'm going to give you a really good example so you can see the vast difference in how employees and entrepreneurs are showing up and making an impact and creating attraction marketing and not. Right? Now, these 3 questions, make sure you write them down. We'd actually do a deep unpacking of these questions inside of our academy with weekly coaching to help our clients really customize and wordsmith this with their profiles, with their content. We're not going to have time to do that in a 90-minute webinar, but you can write these questions down and get started on them on your own, right? All right. Who wants to see what a bad entrepreneur example looks like? Okay, here we go. All right. Do you see this profile? In this profile, in their summary, they say, hi, my name is Miranda. I'm a graphic designer with over 20 years of experience in the marketing and communications industry and founder of Media Matters. Okay. How long is the adult attention span? 2 to 3 seconds, right? It takes 3 paragraphs to get to actually what she does and who she serves. Her second paragraph says, as a wife, mother of two, and successful entrepreneur, my journey in the industry began in Wichita, Kansas. I began my career in a small local business, blah, 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 blah. She's telling her story in chronological order, and bye, Felicia, we're gone, right? The description of Media Matters services is not even mentioned until the fourth paragraph. Do you think the reader even made it that far as the end consumer? You must start with the what's in it for me. People are selfish. They want to know, how can you serve them? How can you teleport them to their desired state? How do you know what their pain point is? How can they relate to you? Your lifelong story in your career is not the answer, right? I'm still not sure her exact services, how she serves, what her signature service is. I certainly don't see anywhere that she expresses that she understands my own challenges as a potential client and how she can address them and be the solution. So all I know in the first 3 paragraphs is her own career story. Okay. So you can tell your story after they jumped at your profile and said, that's me. I want you thinking about that when you're thinking about writing your profile or even writing your daily content is, can they jump to the screen and be like, they are talking about me, right? Now, would you like to see a simple formula to get started with grabbing their attention versus boring them to death like an employee seeking a job? I love this term one of our previous clients uses called pleasantly distracting them on LinkedIn, right? So we talked about going down the highway headed to the beach and you're focused on the beach. Just like people get onto LinkedIn, they get on the LinkedIn highway and they're on a mission to network or update their resume or use it for SEO, and you pleasantly distract them, right? It's like, oh, wait, yes, that is me. I do struggle with that, which, by the way, has nothing to do with why I'm on the platform, but thanks for pleasantly distracting me. And now I'm going to go in a rabbit hole and learn about what you have to offer. Do you see how beautifully this works? Okay. Now, so let's get started. How can you steal our simple formula to get started with a value proposition statement? Okay. So I am fill in the blank expert who helps or empowers fill in the blank with your ideal person to achieve or do fill in the blank with, and then you're going to fill in your signature service or product. Screenshot this. Okay. How can you impact them and solve their current problem in a succinct statement, right? This is our Mad Lib that we start our clients out with inside of our academy as a Kickstarter to start playing with how they're going to wordsmith their headline, which we'll talk about in a minute, and how they can get started in their profile with really grabbing people's attention, right? Inside of our academy, again, we give our clients customized feedback on this inside of their one-on-one audits, so they don't have to go it alone. But this is a great place for you guys to get started, right? And again, it's the foundation of your summary and your headline. Now, who would like to see an example of this? Let's move on to an example. Okay, I'm going to give you my example, right? And then you can piggyback on it and work on yours, right? So for my Mad Lib, and I'm using the word Mad Lib. If you're young and you're watching this, you might not know what I'm talking about. But when I was growing up, like there was no technology and we went on a long ride to the beach, we did Mad Libs where it was like you picked out an adjective, a noun, you name it, and you like fill out the sentences. And then at the end, it's like a surprise story, right? That's a Mad Lib. And that's what entertained us going down the highway, right? I'm dating myself, but actually my kids still use Mad Libs too. Okay. I'm a LinkedIn expert who teaches clients how to 10x their lead generation for their business and in the process, increase their revenue through my signature lead gen method. Okay. So I want you to notice what I did with this marketing here. And I want you to think about this for your own. I want you guys to write this down. Write this down. Sell them what they think they need and then give them what they actually need. Now, this may sound manipulative, but it's not at all. We have to be able to serve people by selling them into what they think they need and then actually giving them what they actually need for the breakthrough, right? So for instance, you didn't end up all the way down in this rabbit hole hitting play, watching this 90-minute webinar because I promised you I was going to teach you how to shift your mindset on how you were showing up on LinkedIn. You would have been like, my mindset's fine. What are you talking about? Right? You would have never registered. However, we're spending time talking about how you're shifting, how you're showing up on the platform. I'm giving you what you actually need, but I sold you what you thought you needed, which you do need, right? Desired state to 10x lead generation in the process, increase your revenue, right? But it starts with how you get there, right? So we sell them what they think they need, and then we give them what they actually need, right? So now that you're here, I'm actually teaching you what's going to be really important in these couple of steps to really show up and get lead generation on LinkedIn. So do you guys want to see how this plays out on a profile? I'm sure you do. Okay. So here is a great example of a profile done right. What does the first two sentences say in her profile? Right? Ever felt like this? Are you noticing she's speaking to her ideal client? Right? Have you ever felt like this? I was tired of chasing breaking news and stressing about story ideas for the morning meeting. I was tired of spending more time with my photographer and producers than my family. Right? So although she's speaking to her own past, she's actually speaking to her ideal client because she's asking them a question up front and then relating to them by knowing their pain, right? Very different than the chronological order of my career history as an entrepreneur. Last profile that we shared, right? Now, is she niche? Yes. Burnt out TV anchor, right? That is a target audience of hers, right? Is she clear on who she serves? Yes. Did she tell her career history up front like a resume? No. Do you think burned out TV anchors want to learn more because they feel seen and heard and connected? And they feel that she knows their challenge better than anyone? Yes. Right? Now let's talk about her headline. Burnt out TV anchor who wanted more. She's inspiring and aligning to TV anchors who feel burned out, right? And are wanting more. Then she moves to leading others to design a life they love and storytelling expert. Now, I happen to know that she's an Emmy or I think an Academy Award winning or Emmy Award winning, whichever one it is when it comes to TV anchors. She has one of those awards. Notice she's not leading with that in her headline because what is that? Showboating. She also has a podcast and she's a keynote speaker. Does she have that in her headline? No. Does her ideal client care before they know that she knows and cares and understands your problem more than anyone else? That's the secret sauce we're going for. Later in the profile, you can showboat, but you have to capture their attention by standing in your power as a service-based business owner on LinkedIn and not an employee, right? So I hope this is making sense. Okay. And again, know that, inside of our academy, our clients get a one-on-one audit of their work on this after being thoroughly trained on it, right? So that you don't have to go it alone and figure it out. But you can get started right here today with the examples that I'm sharing with you, right? Okay. Now, take notes on this as it will inform your content that you create later, along with how you build your profile out, right? These questions, we're going to get into their mindset of your desired avatar or buyer persona, right? We've got to get in their head to inform the content that we're going to put on our profile and in our social content that we're going to push out, okay? So, how do you help them get to their desired state? Remember that Mad Lib? The last portion of the Mad Lib was what is your signature method? What makes you unique, right? How do you help them get to their desired state? And then the second part is being crystal clear on how to market this on a B2B platform as an art. You have to remember why people are on the platform in the first place, right? So you have to understand their desired state and their major pain point in getting to their desired state, like the major pain point, right? So for example, for you guys, I know your desired state is, I know you want quality leads without spending so much time trying to find them or paying a fortune for ads. Am I right? Right? So my message to you in really capturing your attention is going to be, an incredible pipeline of leads with ease to 10x your revenue in your business, right? Your pain point. I know your pain point to your desired state. I know that lead gen is the thorn in your side. I know that you hate the IG and Facebook game. I know you don't want to spend endless hours on social media platforms when you have a serious business to run. Am I right? Now, then let's turn it back to you. What is your ideal client's desired state? And write it down today because it's going to inform how you show up on LinkedIn, right? What is your future client's biggest pain point or problem to their desired state that you have a solution to? And I want you to write this down because all these ideas will come together in building your profile and building out thought leadership content that attracts your ideal client to you like a magnet, right? Okay. So what is their biggest barrier to success? What is their biggest barrier to success? Why can't they achieve their desired state alone? Being crystal clear on how to market this on a B2B platform, again, is an art. So for example, you don't have a step-by-step playbook on how to market your services and products and personal brand on LinkedIn, right? That's your barrier to success. And you need mentorship and feedback, right? And support to build your brand and lead generation, right? Now, for Sarah, for example, it was a knowledge gap to get out of TV with transferable skills into a different career, right? So I want you to think about, why hasn't your ideal client achieved their desired state? Why hasn't your ideal client achieved their desired state? And I want you to write it down. Now, we've got students from all different industries, right? So I'll give you a couple of examples. Like, why haven't they published their first book? Why haven't they invested their income and diversified it? Why haven't they been able to get into better health? Why haven't they made a shift in their career? Maybe you're in the relationship space. Why haven't they taken action to improve their relationship with their spouse? Right? And lastly, the next slide, as the cherry on top and the gold in marketing, right, is how are you unique and show, and how do you offer a solution to their problem? Right? I don't know why I kept trying to say show. I just wanted to get the word show out for whatever reason, right? How do you offer a solution to their problem? Why do they need your expertise to take them through that portal quickly to their desired state? So they can visualize how they're in their desired state quickly by working with you, right? Or investing in your products or services. So for example, I have a custom signature proven method process with railroad tracks and support to help you drive results in condensed time to get the quantum leads that you're looking for and grow your business at light speed while saving time and having fun versus banging your head against a wall on Instagram and Facebook, right? That's what I know about my ideal client. With Sarah, she fills the gap to the barrier, giving them higher rates of return, right? So it's your turn. It's your turn. What makes the solution to your potential, what makes you the solution to your potential client's problem? What makes you the solution? How do you teleport them to their desired state? Right? And I'll remind you, you want to sell them what you think they need, then give them what they actually need, right? So my LinkedIn training as an example, right? The teleport is going to be 10x your income through lead generation on LinkedIn, right? Not a deep dive in how you market and value your value proposition. That wouldn't teleport you to your desired state. And you never would have gotten into this little masterclass in the first place, right? And then secondly, you want to remember why people are on the platform for personal growth, growing professionally. So when you're out there marketing and you're putting content out, you want to remember why people are there. So if people are, for instance, if you're a business coach, right? And let's say you do like really deep shadow work and inner child work because you know that's a rate limiting factor for a lot of folks. The problem is most people who need that work don't know they need it. And if you lead with, hey, we're going to do a bunch of inner work and shadow work and you're going to cry like a baby and it's going to be amazing because we're going to expand you and open you up, they're not going to opt in, right? But if you lead with their desired state and results in their business, sell them what they think they need, get them in and then give them what they actually need. I know my first business coach, and we may talk about her, I invested $12,000 with my very first business coach. And the first thing she did was inner child work with me. And I was like, what are we doing here? I just want to grow my business. Why am I crying in a mirror with a picture of myself at 5 years old? Right? If she had tried to market that that's what she was going to do with me, I never would have bought it. So I hope this is making sense. Same for those of you who, for instance, are in like the hormone management space, right? Like don't sell hormone management. People don't know that that's what they need. Sell them what they think they need, right? Which is energy to perform, that lack of mental clarity at the end of the day, right? Like remember why people are on the platform. Okay. So things to know, things to think about. What is your value proposition and how do you solve their problem? And then think about the employee trap and common mistakes that people make with their headlines and their summaries showing up like employees instead of business owners. And always remember why users are on the platform and how you can best position yourself as an authority. And how are you the ultimate solution to the future client's problem? Okay. Now, let's get into who your ideal client is. We've just talked about what you do and what makes you different and how you have a signature process to be unique, right? But who specifically are you trying to attract? And how would you currently describe them? We must be super clear on who we are attracting before we can market to them in content, right? So if your feed is drab and not exciting, and not your ideal client, you know what? Celebrate that you can change that. If you're like, I haven't been on LinkedIn because it's so boring, that's your problem, right? My feed is full of incredible people with values-based content that's super high energy. Why? Because I know how to grow an amazing network on the platform that becomes highly engaging and it's a warm, fun place to be, right? You can totally change the energy in your feed by who you're strategically connecting with, right? Here's a fact. You can have the best content and the wrong audience and you lose. Okay. You could be putting in so much great content and be like, Melissa, I don't know. No one ever engages with my content. Well, you've got the wrong people in there. If it's good content that speaks to your ideal audience, who's posting right now with zero engagement? That can be fixed. Let me give you an example. That business coach that I initially hired, who now charges over $100,000 to work with her. When I worked with her, she said, and this is someone who has hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, has a very well-known podcast. And she said, Melissa, LinkedIn's never really worked for me. And I was like, really? Tell me about your network growth strategy. And she looked at me like deer in headlights. Huh? I'm like, yeah, your network growth strategy. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, how are you growing your network? She's like, well, I'm not. And I'm like, well, when was the last time you added people to your network? And she was like, maybe when I was graduating from nursing school a decade ago. And I'm like, okay, so right now you're telling me LinkedIn doesn't work and no one's engaging with your content, but you're charging $100,000 for 6 months worth of coaching as a business strategist. And your network is likely full of a bunch of women that you graduated from nursing school with. Are they your ideal client? And she's like, no. right? Here's the great thing. You can strategically grow your network on LinkedIn and immediately the energy changes, right? And the leads change and the conversations and the sales, right? So the other thing is some of you already, you're like, Melissa, I've been in corporate for 3 decades and I've got 10,000 people in my network. I am set. Yes. Well, my follow-up question is, are they the right people? Right? Are they your ideal audience? For some of you, they are. And for some of you, they are not. And you still have to do the reps and start growing a new network that are your ideal client you're going to be marketing to. Right? So you don't want to be standing in an empty stadium in LinkedIn, walking in saying, I'm open for business. And there's no one there. Right? The flip side is like we had an Aussie come into our program a couple years ago. She's self-proclaimed military brat, zero network on LinkedIn. Within 6 months, she'd grown a targeted network to less than 500 and it had grown 2 multiple 6-figure income businesses. One in apparel where she was leveraging it B2B to do partnerships with the clothing line she was working with. And the other was chicks with crypto, right? I don't know that we can get any more niche and specific, right? I'm here to tell you, you can scale a very sizable business with a tight network. And that should be music to your ears as a business owner, because who wants to be wasting all that time like on social media, like the futile effort, right? Okay. Who are you trying to attract? There are 3 core components of personal branding and attraction marketing, right? Knowing your audience helps you craft your message, helps you find them strategically on LinkedIn, right? Remember the awesome search function in the search bar on LinkedIn. Pro tip, you can use Boolean modifiers. Go Google it. I don't have time in these 90 minutes to teach it to you. We do go into a rabbit hole coaching this inside the academy, but it is a brilliant search bar and you can just magically find with laser focus your ideal client, right? So find them strategically, right? My basic core 3 principles to attraction marketing are number 1, avatar relatability, right? Do you know your avatar or your buyer persona? We can call them either. And can you relate to them, right? Can you relate to them? And number 2 is that unique personal brand qualities. I like to call them your snowflake, right? The reality is there's tons of LinkedIn coaches out there. Why are you here today? What part of my personal brand created connection between you and I so that you're making time to listen to this right now? That is my unique personal qualities, right? My snowflake, that multidimensional piece of being human, right? Then there's your personal story, right? How many of you have created or joined a business that you're promoting as a solution to your own problem, right? Now, that's not going to be all of you, but some of you have that personal story. You're going to want to lean into that in your content on LinkedIn because it creates credibility, right? How many of you leaned in further when you realized I created this method as a solution to my own problem? And by the way, I got radical results in one business and then in multiple businesses and then became a multiple 7-figure a year company in less than 5 years and now teaching literally thousands of other people how to do it. That's a personal story that has credibility versus me just coming in and saying, I know about LinkedIn. Let me teach you about it, right? Personal stories are important, right? So we're going to dive a little bit in here. But it's critical that you get clear on who you are attracting to attract your ideal client. And also not only knowing who you're attracting, but how you're uniquely showing up as a personal brand to really connect with people, right? And that really speaks to niching down, right? It doesn't take a large audience. I'm going to say this over and over and over again. It doesn't take a large audience to make tens of thousands of dollars on LinkedIn. But you do need to have, write this down, the right audience and the right message. When we have those 2 things, the game gets a whole lot easier because the network growth capability on LinkedIn is so much easier than the other platforms that you get such a better return on your time, right? And when you have the right audience and you have the right message to feed the simple algorithm, the magic starts to happen. Your content will be bland if you try to market to the masses and you don't do this exercise today, which is niching down, committing to an audience, right? Have a backbone and don't try to make everybody happy. Okay. You need to give yourself permission to be yourself. It is exhausting to try to be something that you're not. It's way more freeing to just be who you are, right? Because then you attract clients who appreciate you for who you are. And it's much more satisfying to run a business that way, right? Because if you're stepping on eggshells, trying to appease and be something that you're not, you're going to attract the wrong clients. And then they're going to get into your program or into your products or services, and you're going to have to continue to pretend and step on eggshells. And that is exhausting and you have no energy left, right? And that's why I love my Burnout to All Out live event. Like, we have the most amazing humans who have the same energy and wavelength as me and appreciate me for exactly who I am, all of my transparency and my occasional 4-letter words. If you're still here and you've heard me drop a 4-letter word, like, you're okay with that. Maybe you actually connect with me because I have no filter, right? And if you don't like that I drop 4-letter words every now and again, I can promise you, you wouldn't like being in my program and you might just want to hit stop, right? You might not want to finish listening to the rest of this webinar, and that is okay. Be authentically who you are, because I want to tell you this. In order to attract with massive momentum, you also have to be okay with repelling. I'm going to say that one more time. In order to get massive momentum in attraction marketing, you also have to be okay with repelling. How does a magnet operate? There's 2 poles, right? And when you put the opposite, they're either attracting or they're repelling. And so when you lean in and commit to exactly who you are, authentically, take me as I am, you are going to create such a magnetic field towards you on social media, on LinkedIn. And there's going to be people who are like repelled by it. And that is okay, because those are not the people that you wanted to work with anyway. This is the number one thing that holds back so many people on LinkedIn, why their content is bland, why it is boring, and why they're not generating leads, because they're afraid that because it's a professional platform, that you can't just be who the hell you are. And I'm here to tell you, be exactly who the hell you are, and it will attract your ideal clients, right? With way more momentum than trying to appease the platform. I have sex therapist on the platform. I have relationship strategist on the platform. I have executive coaches on the platform that all have their own spin and twist that are wildly successful. Don't try to be something you're not just because it's LinkedIn. It will be a fatal mistake and make your content super bland. Okay. So let me give you an example. Okay. Who are you trying to attract? Right here I am. I've got bright pink feathers behind me. You know, I'm in like a leather dress. And just want to say, like, be obsessed with what your niche would find engaging. Right. So my post here says, dim your light for no one. Shine so effing bright that they have 2 choices. Number 1, you're a guiding, inspiring light for others. Or number 2, you blind them. It's their choice. You keep shining. This is spicy, direct Melissa Hinault. Take it or leave it. That's just who I am, right? Do you think there were some men and women who are put off because I'm subliminally using the F word? Yes. Great. They're not my ideal client. It would be a snooze fest to try to work with them inside my program and try to be something that I'm not. So, like, congratulations. I've repelled you off. I'm an entrepreneur who owns my business and I get to choose who I work with, right? And that's who I choose, right? Those same people who dropped off when I have said any bad words up until now were not my ideal client either, right? Attraction also means repulsion, right? I'm being my authentic self and only want to connect with people who get and appreciate me for exactly who I am, right? And I want to like dovetail on this. And it doesn't have to be like somebody with a potty mouth. It's not that I'm like dropping, bad words all the time. It's just that I don't have a filter and I'm okay with speaking authentically with who I am. I have a client whose business is IBS. She's talking about poop on LinkedIn. And some of you are like, oh my God, right? Why not? There's a lot of people who are struggling with IBS. So it's actually relevant for her to be using a poop emoji and talking about the challenges of being 10 minutes late to a meeting, sitting on the toilet. Like there are people in corporate America challenged with this. And in her industry and what she does, it's okay to talk about this on LinkedIn. No filter, right? I hope this is making sense. There is more energy in my feed when I focus on my people because then they engage and appreciate me for who I am. Look, I've got 97 people that engaged with this, right? Don't let LinkedIn be high school. Don't be worried about what other people think. You are a grown, confident adult. Be who you are, right? Again, I have clients talking about sex and divorce and bankruptcy. We have people speaking on spirituality and God and, Christian-based business coaching. Historically could have been taboo in the workforce. Well, you're a service-based entrepreneur. You're not an employee, right? And you need to get the word out for what you do on LinkedIn, right? Okay. Okay. So your customer is wearing a mask. So let me share with you, some of you have very like simple, direct businesses that are going to be, everybody's very transparent and engaging with. Some of you have very sensitive topics that you work with, especially if you're in like the sex specialty space, or I'm trying to think relationship specialists or like divorce attorney. We've got people that work with people with chronic disease, diabetes. Know that your customer is wearing a mask on LinkedIn. You still need to talk about their challenges. They're not going to talk about it. However, and they're not going to like or comment on your post around IBS. However, they will privately slide into the DMs with you and thank you for what you've just spoken to, and you could potentially change their lives, right? So just the magic happens in the DMs with kind of sensitive topics where people are like, yes, I struggle with that. Yes, I struggle with my health. Okay. All right. I hope that's helping you guys a little bit. Now, question I get a lot, should I disconnect from people who aren't my avatar, right? I don't, we talk about like reactive versus proactive actions. That's really reactive to go back and like disconnect with everybody. You are wasting your time, right? I would spend time building a solid profile, creating engaging content, and focus on adding new people that are the right people to your network, right? And even though they're maybe not your ideal avatar, they could still support content that you put out. And something I don't have time to get into a rabbit hole with this 90-minute webinar is that people who aren't necessarily your ideal client could still support some of the content you put out, and they could be highly networked and you get mass visibility through their engagement. So one of the ways that I found out LinkedIn was going to be a massive tool for me and that had massive visibility that now you get to enjoy my training on this. When that post you just saw about gone are the days of my corporate suit, that post actually, I hit post on the East Coast as I was boarding a plane. And I got off the plane 4 hours later on the West Coast. When I opened it up, I could not believe how many people had engaged and commented in it. And the large majority of it, get this, the large majority of people who had engaged were not my personal connections, which means they were not first degree connections. They were what LinkedIn calls second and third degree connections. And I was like, what is this? How are all these people seeing this? Turns out there was one man who was the general manager for North America for a major pharmaceutical company that I had previously worked with, who was a personal connection of mine, who supported the post and made a comment. And when he did, and this is so important for you guys to know, when he did, my content became visible to everyone in his like 20 to 30,000 person network who was active on the platform at that time. And even though he wasn't my ideal client, There were hundreds of women who ended up in the DMs with me for what I was doing at the time, working with women professionals that generated massive business for me. So I hope that underscores, like, don't go disconnect with the wrong avatar because they could still be highly networked. Okay. All right. So couple of rules. I'm going to go through 4 quick rules for you guys to just keep you going on LinkedIn. I'd love to give you some fast rules so you can win on LinkedIn. Number 1, no fluff, provide value. Okay. Post with a purpose, right? And just consider awareness with that, right? Don't try to engage, nurture, and convert in a single post. These are entirely different things. We're here. It's dating. It's like dating, right? And then those of you who read the book, Jab, Jab, Right Hook, value, value, value before you sell, my friends. This is not Instagram. This is not Facebook. Attraction marketing at its finest. People fall into your DMs wanting to know what you have to offer, right? Use storytelling. Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller is a great resource. Remember, people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it, right? So Simon Sinek has the book Start With Why. So these are 2 resources for you to get going, okay? Rule number 2. Use a variety of LinkedIn features. Create dimension to meet the diversity of your client base. You might like video, but they might like long form writing. So we've got to kind of mix and match and create diversity. Obviously, we're not going to get into all of this here, but no, inside of our academy, we have very concise on-demand training on how to master all of these features and office hours to support you in really pulling this through and implementing it. Right? So you want to use a variety of features, whether it's native video, live video, audio. Yes, it's like Clubhouse. LinkedIn has audio events, polls, articles, newsletters. There's so many different dimensions on the platform. Rule number 3, avoid taking people off the platform. Put links in your featured section, profile, articles, DMs, newsletters. Put the links where the people can grab it, but not actually in the post itself. Okay. Put it in the featured section. Again, in your articles. You can also put links in the comments of the post, but don't put it in the body of the post because LinkedIn, how do they make money? They make money with their own advertisements. They don't want you pulling people off their platform. Okay. You can post links from time to time if you must, but don't do it all the time, right? LinkedIn wants their users to stay. Okay. Now, rule number 4, go for engagement above all. Ultimately, your goal is to get a discussion going in the feed. You aren't going to get there overnight. So to start and to get more traction in the feed, go for engagement. Use a great hook to start your post off so that people actually click in and read it, right? Always include a call to action in your post and tag people and businesses in your post to get more visibility, right? Use carousel posts with text. This is really popular these days. And make sure you're connected with the right people if you're looking for engagement. Because if you're connected with the wrong people who aren't aligned to what you're putting out, they're not going to engage with it. And when people don't engage in your content, the algorithms aren't going to push it up in the feed for anyone to see, which is why network growth strategy with the right audience is so important. Okay. Now, here's how to generate hundreds of leads. Show up as an entrepreneur, not an employee, right? Have a clear value proposition, understand your ideal client, and then follow my simple rules that I just shared with you, right? Follow my simple rules. Now, secret number 3, I've got the third and final secret here. And this is one piece of advice I'd give any new business owner if you want to 10x your chances of success. Okay. I speak to this all the time. There's really 2 mindsets that you can be in, right? You can be in an employee mindset and you can be in the entrepreneur leadership mindset. How does an employee think? An employee thinks on focused on tasks. They move from task to task. They have short-term perspective as they move from task to task. They depend on supervision to really tell them what they need to do next, what they're accountable for. There's limited initiative. They really stop learning altogether, right? They just kind of stop proactively learning. I know when I got my doctorate in pharmacy and got started in corporate America, the only learning I did was what corporate told me I needed to do, right? And when you flip over to entrepreneur and leader, we actually are proactive about our learning. The average CEO reads like 60 books a year, right? We're focused on vision and goals. We're strategically thinking ahead. There's independence and initiative that we're taking action and we're empowering others. We have this intrinsic motivation, right? Intrinsic motivation. And so your leadership ability, I want you guys to write this down. Your leadership ability is the lid that determines your level of effectiveness. This is a quote by John Maxwell. Your leadership ability is the lid that determines your level of effectiveness. How many of you have heard of the 21 Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell? Phenomenal book. One of the laws is the law of the lid, right? The law of the lid. And with the law of the lid, he talks about how we have this innate talent that takes us so far until we hit our lid of knowledge, that innate talent that we have, right? And we can choose to stop there with that innate talent or be a leader and seek knowledge and experience to take us from our ceiling to creating a new floor. Right? Am I tracking with you? Right? So I take this concept one step further to where he talks about how our consciousness and awareness of or lack thereof in our knowledge gap is everything in leadership and success. Right? He talks about the unconsciously incompetent. How many of you guys have heard of this? Versus the consciously incompetent, right? And so the unconsciously incompetent, and at this stage, individuals don't know that they don't know, right? They are unaware of their lack of competence in a particular area. So, for example, prior to me pivoting over to LinkedIn, I was banging my head against a wall, doing the same thing over and over and over again, and doing more of it on Instagram and Facebook, expecting a different result. I was unconsciously incompetent that there was a different way completely for me to actually take the ceiling of my knowledge and success, make it my new floor, and grow exponentially to the stratosphere by changing my lead generation strategy. So I was unconsciously incompetent and staying stuck doing things the same way I'd always done them. Why? Because I didn't know that I didn't know. Does that make sense? When you don't know that you don't know, and then all of a sudden you become aware, and that changes everything. So that moves to the consciously incompetent. So at this stage, individuals become aware of their lack of competence. Oh, I actually don't know what I need to know to get to the next step, but I've identified what the gap is. I just need the expertise to fill that gap to take me to where I need to go. That is consciously incompetent. I know that I don't know. When I went from unconsciously incompetent to consciously incompetent, I ultimately scaled to 6 figures on innate talent and consciously sought out mentorship, recognizing I was consciously incompetent to scale to multiple 7 figures a year, right? I broke free of corporate and matched my corporate income basically on innate talent. But when I wanted to go to the next level and I began investing in mentorship that could raise my lid and expand my knowledge, impact, and bank account to the multi 7-figure a year business I am today, right? And my example on that is that I knew I was onto something when LinkedIn was my breakthrough moment of growing my business exponentially. And I knew I was onto something that I could potentially teach other people how to do this, but I was consciously incompetent. I knew that I didn't know how to launch a group coaching program, how to organize it, create it on the back end, none of that, right? And I tried to do it on my own and I failed miserably. I made $1,200 with my first launch, right? Doing it all by myself, not knowing what I was doing. And I found a woman I knew that could raise my lid, close the gap because I was consciously incompetent. I invested $12,000. Now, keep in mind, I'd only made $1,200 at this point. I invested $12,000 and she closed the gap for me. And I've gone from $1,200 launches to $800,000 launches. Why? Because I stepped into that leadership role, recognizing I was consciously incompetent and have sought mentorship over and over and over again over the last 5 years to hit my ceiling, find a new mentor, take me back to my floor, have that mentor take me to my ceiling, recognize I'm there, invest in a new mentor to take me back to my new floor and go from mountain peak to mountain peak to mountain peak from consciously incompetent over and over and over again. Okay. Now, I know you're probably feeling like, whoa, I'm drinking water from like a fire hose. Melissa has covered so much today. So quick recap here. During this training, you've learned why LinkedIn is the best social media platform for you to be on. And if you want to grow your business, I hope we agree there. We've talked about how to generate hundreds of thousands of leads, of highly qualified leads without spending a penny on Facebook ads. And we've talked about the number one piece of advice I'd give any new business owner if you want to 10x your chances of success, right? Now, from here, I just want to ask you what it would feel like. Can you imagine what it would feel like to wake up every day and have the perfect potential clients lining up in your inbox, qualified leads, asking to learn more about what you have to offer, and being able to be highly selective and only saying yes to the clients that are the perfect fit for you, right? Just can you imagine that? Creating authority and a distinguished brand on LinkedIn is the single most powerful, strategic, and efficient way to generate leads in business while getting your time back to create quantum growth in your business and your income. Okay. With that, at this point, you have really two options. You can go it alone after learning what you've learned around LinkedIn and keep moving as normal with what you've learned today without a step-by-step process to expand and explode your lead generation. Or we can do it together. We can do it together. Step by step, future railroad tracks to run on with our proven process and system for success, with live coaching and support and community to go along with you. And this is where I'd love to open up an invitation for you to join us. Take a look at our Lead Gen Academy. If you're looking for a simple path to lead generation and explosion in your business, we'd love to invite you in. So what is inside of our Lead Gen Academy, our 6-month incubator? These are the core components of the Lead Gen Academy that drive results. The Learning Vault and apply at your own pace, the weekly, daily, real-time live coaching, personalized one-to-one feedback in a group setting, and community support and connection. Now, I'd like to show you on the next couple of slides our actual proven system and process that we take you through inside of our academy to drive your results. Okay. So here is the 30,000 level view zoomed all the way out. Okay. 30,000 level view zoomed all the way out. It's a simple 3-step process you learn over a 6-month program. Although you can move as quickly as you want through the content if you desire, you've got 6 months to get through it all, right? And once you learn the process, it's intellectual capital and a lifelong asset you can apply indefinitely as many times as you need throughout life. Like we have spent 6 years using this model with multiple offers. That's what I mean by being a lifelong asset, right? You're not even just investing in a 6-month program. You're investing in a lifelong asset for lead generation in your business. So here are the 3 steps, top level, 30,000 level view. Step 1, we teach you, we pull you through our system and coach you on how to build the car, really build your brand. Step 2, we take you through driving the car. You're going to drive, grow your audience, and grow your brand. And we use the analogy of a car because it's such a great description. You can't drive a car till it's been built, right? And you certainly can't put your car on autopilot until you've gotten it in drive, right? And you've gotten momentum. You've got to get it to the desired state and then hit the autopilot button. And so in the autopilot phase, we're teaching you how to automate and pre-qualify your system with systems that we teach. The bottom line is we're strategically building an optimized funnel of qualified leads, organic leads that you own lifelong that create a long-term asset for you in your business, right? I want you guys to write this down. Your network is your net worth. How good your network is equates to your net worth, right? With your business when it comes to online business. So now let's take that 30,000 level view and let's zoom in to 10,000. I just want to break down the build, drive, and automate just a little bit for you. So what do we mean with our proven system? Well, inside of our program, we teach you systematically how to start with building your brand. So AKA, we call it your virtual storefront, right? This is where you learn how to grow your brand and your value proposition before driving on the platform. We're teaching you how to build out your content pillars for authority and create that know, love, and trust, right? We've got to be able to translate this content into weekly pillars that you're pushing out systematically and organizationally through our proven method. Once we're done building your storefront and building your brand, we go into step 2 to drive the platform. So what are we doing when we drive the platform? We're growing your audience and we're growing your brand. So in step 2, once you've built that virtual storefront, we're going to grow a targeted audience through very targeted strategies that we teach. You're going to search properly for the optimal network growth. You're going to optimize and craft verbiage that converts, and we give you tons of scripts on this. And then perfect content that converts, and we give you content maps and all the things with this, right? Now, once you've gotten through the drive phase, and I want to underscore, this is a learned skill. Once you learn the reps, it is innate and you create a freight train, right, of momentum year over year. The holy grail is automation, right? The holy grail is automation. When you have the method popping and you're in flow and you've got a rich pipeline of leads and at all levels of the decision cycle, now you need an efficient process as a business owner to only make time for the most qualified leads to close with the highest close rate and return on your investment and time. Am I right? So we're constantly driving our pipeline at all levels of the decision cycle through the year, because how we drive and automate our funnel for our LinkedIn leads is we're constantly closing sales in the DMs because of this automation piece, right? And so it's creating a funnel for qualified leads and a screening process and training you up on, our follow-up formula. And everything we teach is there's no other systems that you need to invest in. So the CRM that we teach is totally free. All the automation that we teach is totally free. So there's no additional cost, right? And these are the 3 simple steps to our system that we build and teach inside of our academy that creates the long-term strategy, the long-term asset, the lifelong asset of this ideal network for hyper growth in your business, day to day, week to week, month to month, right? Okay. So now, the different modalities we use to support the build, drive, automate process is in the following slides, right? So we support and pull through the core curriculum of build, drive, and automate through a couple of key buckets. Through our building block modules on demand, so you learn at your own pace. Through weekly live coaching with myself and additional office hours with Jackie, which we'll talk about in a minute. Also, live trainings. There's constantly evolving. LinkedIn is right now playing with how we do profiles, and we're working on a new live training there, right? What else? Live audit workshops. So one-on-one audits on the work that you're doing with our team. And monthly small group coaching with me in a small, intimate group. And we also just have a dynamic and supportive community that you will fall in love with. The network of entrepreneurs that come through and the amount of business that happens between you guys is pretty amazing, right? And here's the thing, no matter if you are the type of student who just wants to be handed the curriculum and blueprint to go running and do it on your own, or you want a super high touch coaching and high interactive community literally daily, we're here to serve you either way. We've designed the program to meet all different types of learning styles of entrepreneur and schedules, right? Okay. So the 6-month incubator, in summary, the core components are accountability led, learn and apply at your own pace, but also real-time coaching with personalized feedback and community support. And our promise to you is that the Lead Gen Academy is the only LinkedIn attraction marketing training of its kind that shows you exactly how to create authority and a distinguished brand on LinkedIn in a strategic and efficient way to 10x that lead generation in your business, creating quantum growth in your income, right? Just an example here, Dr. Christine Manukin closed 13 people out of 30 discovery calls, nearly a 50% close rate, right? Incredible. So what will you experience inside of the academy? Unprecedented support for your growth on the platform to drive results and revenue, right? And we've really talked about the live coaching and all of the support inside, but also just a snapshot. I'm not going to read bullet to bullet. There is phenomenal, thorough, on-demand training, bite-sized nibbles, less than 20 minutes per module with downloadable templates and worksheets to walk you through the build phase of LinkedIn that we teach, the drive phase of LinkedIn that we teach, and the automate phase that we teach. This alone is worth $6,000. The total value of the curriculum we put together is invaluable, right? Invaluable. But hang tight. There's so much more that's inside the program. But first, let me just feature also Dr. Bridget Miyamari. So I just shared with you, it's interesting, we've got 2 doctors, but we've got all kinds of people that we work with in the academy. But back to Dr. Manukin, she was running a virtual functional medicine practice post-COVID, in the midst of COVID. And she was like, I'm really onto something here. I think I could launch a business mastermind teaching other healthcare professionals how to do this. However, she had no idea what the offer was going to look like. And she didn't know what the price was going to be, but she joined our academy anyway. And this is important for some of you who are like, I don't even know what my offer is going to be yet, right? She joined us anyway. And in the first 2 months, followed our build, drive, automate strategy because she at least knew who her ideal audience was, which was going to be healthcare providers. We helped her build her brand, build her story, and grow a targeted network so that 2 months later, when she knew what her offer was and she priced it right, she launched it and had a 6-figure month exclusively through leads on LinkedIn, right? This is really powerful stuff. When I go to Dr. Bridget Miyamari, attorney Bridget Miyamari, she was an attorney who'd left her practice as a top income earner in direct sales. And she found it wildly refreshing to pivot from Facebook and Instagram over to LinkedIn, where she could lead 100% with the business and speak with high-level professionals who are looking for a business opportunity. And she was able to explode her business on LinkedIn. Now, here's the thing. I just want to remind you guys that I am not special. I'm just like you. I want you to remember my story. This is me up to the right, burnt out in corporate America, juggling 2 little babies. I just followed a simple method that I created and it works. And it can work for you too, right? Don't compare your middle, like where you are right now, to my beginning. This, my friends, was my humble beginning. Again, I was a burned out corporate mom just looking for an easier, more fun and sustainable way to generate leads in an online business. And having a vision for that blue ocean of opportunity on LinkedIn for marketing, I took every course I could find on LinkedIn, and no one was teaching what I needed to succeed. They weren't teaching how to show up as an expert through thought leadership or as a business owner. They were all coaching how to land your next job instead of how to be a think influencer and how to pleasantly distract, which is what I teach, right? So I had to create my own path. And I created my own wide open blue ocean and just went for it. And it took me 1 or 2 years to perfect my LinkedIn strategy. And it worked in my e-commerce business. And so I applied it to my coaching business, and it worked over and over and over again, to the state of a multi-7-figure a year business, now leading thousands of other students into their same journey of attraction marketing, lead generation, and business expansion. And I'm condensing time for you. I am raising your lid and making your ceiling your floor, right? Taking you from being consciously incompetent to consciously competent, right? So now on to what else is inside the academy. That live coaching with Jackie and I, you get access with us weekly. Jackie is our resident CIO, Chief Integration Officer, and in-house tech guru and LinkedIn expert who keeps us up to date with real-time changes on LinkedIn, along with implementation and execution in her office hours, right? And you get office hours, and you get coaching with me weekly, right? So we're taking this between Jackie and I, tremendous support weekly, right? And so that's just a little bit of what's inside. And then lastly, with Deirdre, I'll just share with you, she's an executive in the fashion industry, and we're still working a full-time big career. And she invested in our program. She actually binged on our content over the holiday break last year, and exploded her business. She found that she had been struggling with lead generation, trying to learn it around her 9 to 5. And by joining our program and binging our content, she's been able to make more in the last 4 months than she's ever made in her business by joining the academy. So I know some of you are saying, I don't know that I have time for this, Melissa. And so for those of you who are busy like Deirdre, I say you can't afford not to invest because of the amount of how we consolidate time for you, take the guesswork out, walk you through the process of build, grow, scale systematically, spoon feeding you and giving you real-time feedback for optimization. So you're never, worried about, are you in the right spot, right? So we also, again, have that one-on-one group setting audits worth over $4,000. You get one-on-one audits with your profile, your content. You do a sales role play with us because some of you, we're teaching you how to get the leads all the way to the finish line, but you don't have sales experience. So we're coaching you on that. Some of you have it, some of you don't, but it behooves me as a business owner to ensure everyone gets solid sales training because it helps you get results, right? It helps you get results. So the total value of this program, between the on-demand training worth $6,000, the interactive weekly live coaching with Jackie and I worth $10,000, and the audits that you're getting one-on-one worth over $4,000, I could charge $20,000 for this program. And you're probably wondering, okay, but what's the real price, right? My business coach suggests that we actually do charge $20,000. Frankly, it's that good. Like once you get inside, you'll see what I'm talking about. But here's the deal. I've been in your shoes when you're beat up, you're tired, you're not seeing the results, even though you're putting in the work. And it's not you. It's just that you're on the wrong platform and you've got the wrong message. And I know sometimes when the sales aren't flying in, it's hard to invest in your business, right? I bring you back to when I invested my first when I made my first $1,200 in my first iteration of what I was doing, I needed someone to raise my lid. And I spent 10x what I had made. I spent $12,000 when I'd made 1,200, right? But then I made $1 million in 19 months, right? And so I raised my lid. I identified the gap that I needed to close in order to grow with quantum growth with the right mentorship. So I know it's tough to invest when you don't see the sales coming in, but lead generation is probably exactly what you need if the sales aren't coming in, right? And I want it to be affordable for you. And I've had to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years for the mentorship that I've gotten. And I want an even playing field, and I want to condense my knowledge and make it more affordable. And that's why I've actually priced it $15,000 below its actual value. So for 6 monthly payments of $914, the academy, the mentorship, the community is all here for you. You can pay in full and save almost $500 for $4,987, right? And with that, you're going to get everything that we just talked about. And my number one goal is that this is a gateway flagship program that drives results for you. It behooves me for you to get the results because it's a gateway to our higher level business coaching programs that we offer. I only have clients ascend if they're making money and getting results, right? So it behooves us for you to get results. So how do you enroll? You can scan this QR code right here. And you can grab the enrollment right here and you can check out the cart. I just want to remind you, remember why you are here. You're motivated to leave behind tireless, time-consuming tactics on other social platforms and bypass expensive lead generation strategies to cannonball into a new lead generation strategy with fun and ease. Again, you're here to change your story and change your trajectory in 2024. You're really looking for a step-by-step support along the way. And lastly, to stop the insanity of doing the same thing, expecting different results. And for a community and experts to support you on your LinkedIn journey. With that, if you're watching this and you've got questions, book a clarity call today. You can text the word clarity to 704-486-4228 and book a clarity call. There's two ways to get your questions answered. We can book a clarity call, right? We can book a clarity call. And actually, I guess that's just the one way you can get the questions answered is to book a clarity call. And we can help you decide. And I want to say help you because I'm not here to talk you into anything that is not the right fit for you. How many of you guys have made the fatal mistake of convincing someone into a product or service that you had to offer and they were the wrong fit? Like, I am a firm believer that everybody's money isn't good money. And I know you've had people that you've worked with that you wished you hadn't convinced them. I have a very successful business. I do not have to drag people across the finish line. If you book a clarity call with me, I am only going to help you identify if based off your business, based off your situation, is it the right fit for you? That is what this call is for. I will say it's not to negotiate price, or to get free LinkedIn coaching. It is solely to get clarity. Like, that is what it is. It's solely to get clarity. So if you text the word clarity to 704-486-4228, we will get you set up with a clarity call with me or one of our with Jackie probably. So that's how you can connect with us before the ball drops. The ball drops Tuesday night. The ball drops Tuesday night. The doors do close on Tuesday night. And so you just want to make sure you've got that clarity call booked before then. With that, we promised you something special at the end of this webinar. And so I am dropping this downloadable right here. You click on this QR code and you are going to get all the goodies with the LinkedIn checklist, your LinkedIn profile workbook, and the workbook in general. So just click on this QR code here, and you will be gifted these workbooks. So I hope you guys found this information wildly helpful in getting started with your build, drive, and automate over on LinkedIn to really generate leads for yourself. But also just giving you clarity on how you can execute on LinkedIn. And with that, regardless, I would love to stay connected with you. Here is my LinkedIn link, my QR code, to come connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's take this conversation over there. And thanks again for your time today. Thanks, guys, so much for listening in on today's podcast episode. And I can't wait for you to see my upcoming guest in the next episode. You are going to love this keynote speaker. Hey, here's the deal. If you liked this, please subscribe and leave a review. And you want the latest online business growth strategies and exclusive LinkedIn pro tips sent straight to your phone? Text the word update to 704-318-2285. That is, text the word update to 704-318-2285. Can't wait to see you guys. Come find me over on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you like to hang. Cannot wait to hear how you are enjoying and applying what you're learning. You guys reach out to me over on social because I love hearing what's resonating with you. When you reach out to me and you send me those personal DMs, they really do impact the content I continue to bring forward to you. So again, come find me, Melissa_Hinault over on Instagram, Melissa Hinault over on LinkedIn and Facebook. Can't wait to see you guys over there.